Creature Commandos on the day that the Superman teaser drops, and it was, honestly, I loved this episode. Hey everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We talk about DCU, Creature Commandos, Superman, and more all the time. And if you're returning, thank you so much. And thank everybody for spending part of your day with me here while I talk. Episode was Chasing Squirrels. I was led to believe that this episode was going to pretty much be all about Weasel. That's kind of what the teaser going into it kind of suggested, and based on last week with G.I. Robot, that's what I anticipated. Well, that was all kind of almost all about G.I. Robot. I thought, okay, we're going to get that now from Weasel. But I guess Weasel being who Weasel or what Weasel is, John Doe, we weren't, that may not have been possible. So we get a bunch of different stories in here, and Weasel's, I wasn't really sure if I was going to relate to his. I guess I didn't because I'm not a Weasel. But I thought his storyline was spectacular. You learn about the kids that they claim he had murdered. Spoilers, everyone. If you haven't seen the first few episodes of Creature Commandos, hit that pause button and go watch them, then come back, because I'm not going to go too spoilery here. I'm mostly just going to gush about how I like this episode and what I like about it specifically, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody who has not seen it. So, that being said, let's get into some possible spoilery talk. I thought it was cool what they did with Weasel. Yeah, the whole time we have his lawyer comes in, his lawyer voiced by Linda Carlini, who did a voice in Guardians of the Galaxy. Velma from Scooby-Doo, of course, she's doing the voice of it. And I like that she's on Weasel's side. She's saying, you guys are wrong about Weasel. And they're saying, are you an idiot? How could we be wrong? The group is back at Belle Reve after the events of last week with Cersei. And they're like, okay, there's something up here. And Cersei's like, I'm trying to save you guys. You guys stupid? Like, listen to me. I'm actually trying to help you. And they want nothing to do with her, but eventually they learn that she's a clairvoyant, and part of her powers, even though she's got these shackles on that kind of constrict her power and she can't use them, she can still go into your mind and show you visions. So Amanda Waller says, bring it, bitch! And then she goes into Amanda Waller's mind and shows her the vision that we've been seeing glimpses of throughout. This time we got a little bit more. We have the Superman flag, the death of Superman flag going on. This time with Gorilla Grodd. I was like, finally! I've been waiting. I was like praying, James God, please, Gorilla Grodd, please. Please. Now, that's not to say he's going to show up at any point, but the fact that we got him in Creature Commandos, I thought was spectacular. I love that. So we got more of that. And she's saying, look, I tried to kill the princess because this is going to go down if I don't. Rick Flag, of course, who bumped uglies with her, is on the opposing side and said, I want nothing to do with this. And Waller says, we got to take out the princess. Rick Flag says, not with me by your side, and leaves. Also, look, John Economos is in this one. Got his animation debut. I thought he looked exactly like him. I was like, this is wild. They did a great job there, and I liked his rapport with Waller was kind of there, just showing how this is one unified world, right? His role wasn't over the top, nothing spectacular, but if you have a character doing what he was doing, you might as well use the character that already exists within your canon, and that I really liked and appreciated. So I thought he was used very well in this, and I really liked it. The one thing in this episode that really shocked me, we'll get into the Weasel stuff in a little bit, the one thing that shocked me the most, though, was Frankenstein. I wasn't really sure how I would feel. Like, I kind of like the use of him going forward. I was really looking forward to the character in this series, heading into the series beforehand, and then as we went into it, I've been a little less intrigued by Frankenstein. There's other characters to me that kind of elevated, but this one, Frankenstein was more at the forefront than I anticipated here, and he sees Flag and the bride having a moment, and he goes, no, they're in love, and I love the performance that David Harbour is bringing to this character, the way his voice, little inflections on his voice, I really like it. But you find out that he's jealous of Rick Flag, so he tracks down Flag. This episode is about him kind of tracking down Flag and saying, that woman is mine. But while this is happening, Flag and Frankenstein kind of have a bond together, and they form like a team, like a duo, if you will, the two of them together, because Flag kind of talks him into being on his side, and Frankenstein, being the personality that he is, he goes along for that ride with Flag. And I'm like, I can't wait to see where this is going to go now, because obviously, Bride now, they have Bride, Dr. Phosphorus, and Weasel are now going to go kill the princess, but you feel like Flag and Frankenstein are going to go and stop that from happening, and the world's going to go to hell. And I'm curious how the world's going to go to hell, if at all, because obviously we just got that Superman trailer, like I said, and I don't know where exactly this show leads into that movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, if these events have to be stopped, obviously, so we'll see how that gets to that point. Maybe the princess is along for this world. Who knows? We know some characters from the show are going to transfer over to Superman. But this was, so far, out of the first 4, this was my favorite episode. And I would probably say by a long shot, I really genuinely loved this episode. I was watching it when it ended, I was like, damn it. I was all in. I loved the flow of it. I thought, last week, for me, I thought last week's episode was great, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I felt, and I said this in my review last week, that the transitions kind of took me out of it every once in a while, where I was all in on a storyline, and then now let's transition to the past, and I was but I was just getting caught up on this one. Then in the past, I'd be okay, I'm with you now, and then as soon as I got with you, you'd pull me back to the present. This one, I felt like they handled it with James Gunn in the direction. They handled it a lot better. I felt like I was in it the whole time, and I never felt like I was being taken away from the storyline at any given point, which leads us to Weasel, who I thought was going to be the lead of this episode. Again, it's ensemble, though. And he does have a lot of the focus, the main focus. We learn a lot about his backstory, and we see the kids that he supposedly murdered. And of course, I say supposedly because if you've seen this episode, you know that they think that he's some kind of dog or groundhog or something, and they start playing fetch with them, and they're having a great time. But then the school door opens, and they wander in the school, the back door of the school. They wander in. They're like, maybe we shouldn't. They're like, no, we're going to. And they wander in. And while they're doing that, somebody sees them, and he calls the cops on them. He puts in a shotgun, and while they're in there, they find a teacher's alcohol, and they spill the alcohol, and it catches on fire. And the cops got them, the most incompetent cops. I don't know if that, maybe not, but incompetent cops show up, and they start shooting, and they gun down child or two, and Weasel gets gunned down as well. And you find out how he gets in Valriba. You find out that he actually didn't commit the crimes that they thought that he committed. And he makes him more of a sympathetic character, even more than I think he was. Now he's even more of a sympathetic character. And I remember afterwards, I was kind of well, you know what? I'm glad he survived the Suicide Squad. Even though I had a pool going in, we watched that. We had a little pool, a chart, and we had and I thought Weasel was a goner. And when he was a goner, I was yeah. And then he came back, and I had to erase my... Also, if you haven't checked out Holy Christmas Batman from my friend Brian Royer, link in the description below. It is a jolly good time. I'm curious to see where they take his character and how they can evolve, because he's obviously got a lawyer who's calling him John Doe because nobody knows his real name. I want to see more about Weasel now. This is G.I. Robot. I love that story. I love what they did, but I felt like I got G.I. Robot. I didn't know if there was any more growth to G.I. Robot. I could be wrong. Gunn could be saving him in his back pocket. He could be coming back. But Weasel, I feel like there's a lot more there for Weasel, and I want to know what it's going to be, and I can't wait to go on that journey with Creature Commandos and Weasel and see what's going on. So I'm super ecstatic to see where this series is going. We got a new episode in a week, obviously. I haven't watched the trailer. I don't watch the promos for it until a few days after. I let the episode kind of digest, and then I go and I watch it. I might do a lead into it. We'll see how it goes. I'm very busy right now with all the stuff that's dropping. It's crazy. But I like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Did you like this episode of Creature Commandos chasing squirrels? I love that it ended on that line as well, because he was dreaming about these horrific events that ruined his life. And the bride's just he's probably dreaming of chasing squirrels. Love the way it ended. I just thought it ended great. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe. But until next time, may you be the master of your own universe.